Hello guys, today I'll be making a tier list that's been requested every now and then, and that's basically gonna be the duo tier list for champions. And I'm gonna start for top lane, and then I'll be making a video for all the other roles, or like except for jungle, of course, every week. And yeah, so this video is gonna be for like people that are maybe new to League, they don't know which champions are great to play with, and then also for maybe people that want to duo with their friends and they just are looking for champions that are really good to play with. So yeah, let's just start right away. And you can see, I mean, this one is called Dodge. I've called this Dodge, but like, don't dodge just because you have those champs in your game. Yeah, like it's over-exaggerated, of course, but yeah, those champs are just ones you really don't want to play with necessarily. They're gonna make the game difficult for you, and yeah, but in general, I'm really not a fan of dodging, so don't take this too seriously. So Aatrox. I think Aatrox is a pretty solid champ at the moment. Generally, he's also built into like a very heavy AD at the moment, so I would put him into great. I don't think he's quite 2v8 because, well, we'll talk about that, but like 2v8 usually also has very guaranteed CC, which Aatrox doesn't necessarily have, but he has some amount of CC, of course, with his knockups, and he is very heavy AD, so he's a great champ to play with for sure for Ekko. Next one, I'll guess we can put Akali. I mean, I haven't seen many Akalis top this season, but she has been played top. She is AP, of course, which does put her a little bit lower, but she also is an assassin, which can be nice to play with as Ekko, right? You can dive the backline together with her. I would put her into neutral because of that. And she's a pretty strong champion at the moment. So yeah, but she doesn't provide any CC, and she is AP, of course, making it more likely that the enemies will build MR. Next one's gonna be Akshan. Akshan is a nice AD champ. He's similar. He has like very high carry potential. He can decide fights on his own. He doesn't provide any CC, however, so I'll just put him into good tier. But he's also quite easy to gank. So yeah, like a good Akshan can also be great, I would say. For example, I played with Drutud, and like with a good Akshan, it's definitely very nice to play for sure. Alistar we're not gonna put into top, I guess. Aphelios neither. Like, some of these champs, you can play them top, you can basically play any mage top, but I'm not gonna rate them as top laners because I will also make a mid lane tier list. So, who's next even here? Camille, I guess. Is Camille next one? I'll go through them again afterwards so I don't miss anything, but Camille, I would say, I would put into great tier as well. Maybe even 2v8 tier. Could be. I think like her ult, of course, and her E are really good setup, but Camille is a pretty high skilled champ, I would say, to some extent at least. So it's not like I don't know. I'm actually a little bit. I might put her above Aatrox. Like, this will also be rated to like left to right, left being the highest, and then yeah, like I might also just change some of them later on if I feel like they don't belong here. Camille could also be into 2v8 territory. They of course have the convergence, lore accuracy as well. Is Cassio a top laner? I mean, she's probably one of the mages you see top lane most frequently as a counter pick to certain stuff. But yeah, I'm also gonna save her for mid lane, I guess. Cho'Gath, of course, AP. He has decent CC, of course. He's a nice tank, like playing with tanks, of course. If you were playing Ekko jungle, of course, I didn't say this, but of course this tier list is for Ekko jungle because I'm an Ekko jungle player. Cho'Gath is a nice tank. He can also build Everfrost where he provides a lot of CC. I would even put him into good for that. He's of course AP, but it's not a big deal. As long as your team isn't full AP, then it's not a problem having another AP champ in your team. So yeah, since he provides a lot of CC, he can be very tanky. I would definitely put him into a good tier. Darius, it's difficult. Like, he's between good and great. I don't want to put every single AD champion that has some amount of CC into great. I would put him into good. Like, I don't know, Darius for some reason, it's just a very different champion to play with. I don't know, they like playing on their own. A lot of Dariuses, whenever you ping that you want to gank them, they just go in right away, you know what I mean? So, yeah, I don't know, maybe I'm like emotionally influenced by the players I've had on my team, but I wouldn't quite put him into great for some reason. And also, of course, everything, like, people might have very different opinions than this, but that's how tier lists work, right? They are, of course, just my personal experiences and my opinions. So yeah, I hope you can accept that. Mundo, like Mundo, honestly, between dodge and bad, like I think at the moment dodge Mundo is such a shit champion, and I'll have to put some champions here. So yeah, I think Mundo, like he's pretty heavy, like he has some AD damage, but he also has a bunch of AP damage, and then he doesn't provide any CC for being a tank, which just sucks, right? That's why he's so bad. He's a tank that doesn't have any real CC, he only has his Q slow, so yeah, it's just at the moment a very bad champ. And in general, I think Mundo is just not a good champ. If anything, he's just overtuned and then he just stat checks, so yeah, not great. Fiora. I mean, Fiora, difficult one, because she is AD, of course. I think at the moment she's also pretty strong. Let me just check. I mean, I'm not gonna put Fiddle top, even though you can basically play him everywhere. She doesn't provide any CC. She is a very high skill champ. She's also one champ that usually likes being left alone. I would put her into neutral for that. Like, she's like, it's just no big like combo with Ekko. You know, if you're looking to play with a duo, you're not gonna play with someone that's playing Fiora. If you want to have any amount of combo, like it's not easy to play around a Fiora because, well, as I said many times already, she doesn't have any CC, and yeah. Galio, I don't think is really played top at all. GP, kinda want to put him into neutral as well. I might put him into good because at least with his ult he has like some help for ganking, right? Like it's not hard CC, but it's a very big slow field, which definitely helps. And GP, I feel like a lot of GP that I've seen recently, they have all looked very strong. So yeah, at the moment I would definitely put him into good. He could also move down to a neutral tier depending on his strength. Garen, I think Garen is surprisingly easy to play with. I don't know, like with Garen it feels so easy to dive. I would also put him into good tier, even though he has no CC. Of course, he's a tank, and Garen is also pretty good at absorbing pressure. So I don't know, I just like playing with Garen for some reason. Gnar, okay, interesting. I mean, I have actually just not played with a lot of Gnars, to be fair. He has some amount of CC, of course. I probably just put him into good as well. As I said, I've really not played much with him, but he is AD, of course. He has CC, so yeah, he can't be too bad. Gragas, of course, has really nice CC. He is AP, however, so I don't think I can put him above good. Like, of course, you will see, like, this is probably gonna be very heavily skewed towards good, because a lot of champions are just, like, very decent to play with. Maybe I should just remove one of those tiers. I don't know if there's gonna be a difference between, like, bad and dodge, but we'll see. So, yeah, I think Gragas, very fair to say good. Like, I guess, like, in the good tier, I'm not gonna order them too much. I might just put some of the ones I like playing more with towards the left here, but the other ones are probably just not gonna be in any particular order. Is Graves a top laner? I don't think I'll put Graves top. I might put him mid, but I mean, I'm just gonna put him into bad. Let's say that I'm gonna put him into bad because he is pretty. I don't think he's very good in top lane at the moment, and he doesn't provide any CC. Of course, he's very heavy AD, but since he's just not a great top laner at the moment, and I want to fill the bad tier with something, I will put him into bad. Gwen, honestly, bad. Like, not as bad as Mundo, because Gwen is a better champion at the moment, but she also doesn't provide any CC. She's, of course, AP, so she kinda ruins your team comp for you in some games at least, because, of course, like, as a top laner, you're a little bit more inclined to pick AD if you have an Ekko jungle, and like you of course can't tell people what to pick, but mid laners are more likely, like there's more mages and whatever played in mid lane, so they're more likely to pick AP, and when you have an AP top laner as well, then it can really make games very, very difficult. Heimerdinger, I'm gonna put into top. I actually played with a Heimerdinger yesterday. The problem with Heimerdinger is, like, they usually are a very big problem for the enemies as well, but you cannot play with that champ, you know? Like, you really need to leave him alone. Of course, he's also AP, which really is annoying for you. So, yeah, definitely just a bad champ to play with. You can win games, of course, but it's just not great. Illaoi, I would put very much into neutral tier. It's another one of those champs. It's like all these Hullbreaker champs, you know, that they just kind of want to left alone. Like, why would you duo with them? They're not champs you want to duo with. And she doesn't really provide CC. Of course, you can play with her. She's like very heavy AD, but yeah, not a great duo champ by any means. Irelia. I haven't seen many Irelias to be fair, but I mean she has CC. She's pretty heavy AD, so she can't be like worse than good, I would say. But her CC is also not super guaranteed, right? Her E is kind of difficult to hit, so just gonna put her into like the middle of the pack for the good tier. But she's definitely a champ where like you can 2v8 fights with a champ like that if she's really good and if she's fed and whatever. But she's not like a good synergy with Ekko, I would say. Not a great synergy, at least. She's a good synergy. Yeah, she's like fine. Jarvan, I don't think I will put Jarvan top. I mean, he has been played top in some metas, but he's not really a top laner. Jax. I think since Jax is so broken, I'm gonna put him into a great tier. Because Jax is just like, his E is decently, like, you can time it very easily, right? If the Jax has a brain and he just jumps on at the right time, you can very easily time it with your W. So it's pretty guaranteed CC. And Jax is just a pretty broken champ as well. So yeah, and another one of those, like, Jax, another champ that's also very good at absorbing pressure. So it's just nice to have someone like that in your team generally. Jayce, I'm gonna put Jayce into like good tier. He doesn't provide any CC, but he's very heavy AD, and like, and he also scales super well, which makes it so like in late game he can really make the difference. So with that, it's always kind of nice to play. Am I gonna put a Kalista top? I don't think I've seen a Kalista top in a long time, so I don't think I will put her there. I guess I can. I would put her into neutral. She's an ADC top. She, of course, super lane dominant, so you can often like get dives off and whatever, I would say, because enemies are probably gonna be low. But again, she has no CC. She's not like a tank or whatever, so she doesn't feel that in your, like, usually of course top laners and supports are the main roles for tank champions. I guess jungle as well, but not even that much at the moment, to be fair. I think at the moment it's a pretty big jungle carry meta, so if you have an ADC top, it's definitely might be a role that's just missing in your team. Karthus, are we gonna, or Karma and Karthus? I mean, we could put Karma. I guess Karma, I've seen her a bunch of times recently, actually. I would put her into neutral as well. Like, she could move down to bad, depending on her strength. But at least she's a supportive champ, so it's like... And the shield is nice, like, the movement speed is not bad for Ekko at all, right? It helps you get into your W sometimes. Of course, you just have another shield, which makes it so you're not super squishy, which is nice. Karthus... I'm gonna put Karthus into bat. I mean, I have not seen many Karthus tops, but I'm sure there are some Karthus top players, so I think putting him into bat is pretty fair, because he's, of course... First of all, Karthus himself doesn't like playing with other AP champs more than most other champs, and he doesn't provide any CC, and yeah, like... In general, I don't think he's the best top laner either. Kayle... Fuck it, I'm gonna put her into dodge. Like, I don't know, I hate playing with Kayles. It's like, it's so difficult to play with Kayles. They usually are not a champ until like level 11, and then you just might lose so much pressure on the map that it's just horrible. I don't know, she doesn't provide any CC. If she's building AP, it's even worse. Like, if she's building AD, then I might move her up to a bad, but I don't know, AD kill is also not that crazy good, so... Yeah, I'm just gonna put her into dodge tier, because some champs have to go there, like, honestly. Am I gonna rate Kayn top? I guess I could. Like, I feel like Kayn top is a pretty viable pick, honestly. Red Kayn... You know what? Like, Red Kayn might actually be pretty good. Just because he's such a disgustingly good champion in general. I might put him into great tier. Like, very similar to Aatrox, honestly. Super heavy AD. Disgusting in like fights and like long extended fights, just can tank a lot for you as well, which is also something you need to take into account. And yeah, I think he might... I have not played with a red cam, but I imagine it would probably be great, honestly. Blue Kayn, I probably would put into good. Is of course also a nice champ to play with, but he doesn't have CC, unlike Kayn. Unlike Red Kayn, so yeah, I would put him into good, but he of course, you can also just 2v8 fights if he's enabled and you're enabled, then I actually have played with the blue cannon, it was Druchut, but like I enabled him really hard in that game, and then he was able to carry. So yeah, it was decent to play with. We were able to dive a lot, honestly. But yeah, that was like because Druchut was kind of smurfing that elo, so of course it's not like a good representation for when you're playing with someone that's playing at his normal skill level. I would say it was just like good. There's no crazy synergy there. Kennen, I would say Kennen is neutral tier. He has at least very good CC, very guaranteed CC as well with his ult. But at the same time, he's of course AP, so yeah, I might move him up a little bit here. But yeah, he's better than some of these champs, I would say. But again, he's AP, so he can ruin your team or he can make games very difficult. Kled. I say Kled is one of the better good champs. He's not quite great. I don't know. His CC is not as guaranteed, it feels like, and it's also not as easy to layer with. But he is, of course, also pretty heavy AD. He can absorb a lot of pressure as well. And his ult is actually sometimes really nice for just engaging and getting into like your Ws and whatever. Yeah, he's not quite great here. Now, Ksante... there's so many really bad Ksante players, but I think technically if you have a good Ksante, he's probably great. Like, honestly, he's probably great. He has a lot of CC, he fills the tank role, which is nice, and he's still like a disgusting champion damage-wise as well, even though he's a tank, so... Yeah, I'm gonna put him into great. But I've had a lot of bad Ksante experiences just because the players were bad, to be fair. Lee Sin I'm not gonna put top. Lillia neither. Lissandra neither. Like, I've had a Lissandra top recently, I think actually twice, but... Yeah, I don't know. It's not really a top laner, I'm gonna save her for mid lane. Lulu neither. Like, I know I rated Karma, but I think Lulu is less likely to be played top than Karma at the moment. Now Malphite, okay. Malphite is an AP champ, but he's gonna be the first AP champ that I'm gonna put into great tier. Because his CC, right, with the ult, it's just so incredibly guaranteed. You're literally... Like, there's no counterplay to that, basically. I could even put it into 2v8 tier because of that, but it's not like... You'll see, like, there's one champ, of course, I have in mind for the 2v8 tier. But, yeah, Malphite doesn't really fit into that. He's not a champ that you really decide fights with in a 2v8, so... But he's super good. Like, after level 6, he's just complete free ganks, and he does fill the tank role, which is, of course, nice. So, yeah, very, very nice champ to play with, for sure. Maokai. I mean, Maokai also provides a lot of CC, which is very good. I think he's not that great top lane in general, but I'm still gonna put him into good tier. I think it's fair to say. He, of course, is very heavy AP, so that kind of sucks, but at least he is a tank and he has point-to-click CC, he has his ult, which is very long CC. So it's never bad to play with him, but he's not quite Malphite level of guaranteedness, it feels like, because at least, right, the Malphite ult also has such incredible range, you know? And Maokai just has to walk up so much with his W that people might be more able, like, might be able to respect it much more. Am I gonna put Melio top? Probably not. I mean, I've seen Druchut play it a bunch of times and it didn't even look that bad, but... Yeah. And I also have not seen... I have not really watched those videos, so I don't know. Mordekaiser. Bad. Like, honestly... Mordekaiser is just not great. He's heavy AP, doesn't really have any CC. He doesn't even want to be ganked. I'm gonna put him into dodge. Like, he ults, right? Like, he ults people to play the game by himself. Mordekaiser is not a champ that wants to be ganked, and he just ruins your team comp by being AP, basically. Not quite Mundo level of bad, though. Nafiri. Nafiri is a top laner, right? I think Nafiri, very much good tier. Very heavy AD champ. Doesn't really provide CC, but she has good follow-up, so... Yeah, I'm gonna put her into the middle of the pack for a good tier. I haven't played too much with that champ. It's kind of new, of course, but... Yeah, I would say it's a very solid champ to play with. I'm never unhappy to play with that champ. And it's also a champ that is kind of in this 2v8 mindset, where you can just, like, really decide fights with them. These, like, fighter champs that deal a lot of damage and still have a lot of sustain and whatever, they're nice to play with. Nasus. I'm gonna put into bad tier. I don't like playing with that champ. Of course, he's kind of tanky, he has his W and whatever, but it's not real CC. Of course, like, with the W slow is so big that it might actually help you quite a lot hitting the W, but still, I don't know. I don't like playing with that champ. It's also... I just don't like playing with champions that take too long to come online, you know? So yeah, I'm gonna put him into bad tier. I'm not a fan of playing with Nasus, to be fair. But at least he's not AP, but yeah, still gonna put him here. Am I gonna rate Neeko top? I don't know. I have not played with Neeko top, to be fair. Not really. I imagine it's not even that bad. If it's 80 Neeko top, I could put it into neutral tier, I would say. At least she has CC, and if it's 80, then she doesn't even ruin your team comp, or she doesn't hold you back. And if it's AP, then it's probably her better build at least. And yeah, she has really nice CC, especially like you can layer it for a long time. You can literally CC people for like 6 seconds or something probably. If you hit the E and then your W and then she ults. And like nobody's gonna live through that either anyways. So yeah, I think there's a very fair rating. I guess I could rate Nidalee top because I've actually seen it a bunch of times. I'll put it into bad tier though. Like, it's no CC, not that great of a top pick anyways, and then she's of course also magic damage for the most part, so I think putting her into bad tier is pretty fair. Who's next? Yeah, these are not really top laners. I guess Olaf. I would say Olaf's just very, very solid, middle of the pack, good tier. He doesn't provide any real CC, but he's like a... I just like playing with strong laners, you know, because oftentimes with these laners you can go for dives and whatever, get you really enabled, and then, of course, also in the late game, like, just having these tanky champions in your team that tank a bunch of spells for you is just makes the game easier to play, you know? And Olaf is also just a pretty decent champ, I would say, at the moment. Ornn. Yeah, I think Ornn also just good tier. I've not had a lot of good Ornn experiences recently, but he of course has nice CC. And he is like, honestly, he could be great, but I don't know, like my Ornn players are always bad. I don't know. But yeah, he's between, I would put him like in the better part of the good tier. Now, Pantheon I think is great, honestly. Like, I would say good Pantheon could even be 2v8 tier. It's like literal point to click CC. I'm gonna, you know what? I'm gonna put him into 2v8 here. I think Pantheon is a really strong champ at the moment. He's of course completely like point to click CC, so it's like very easy to layer. And then he of course is also very heavy AD. So yeah, I have to put some champs. I don't want to only put the one champ I had in mind there. So yeah, I will put him into here. Just because he is like genuine point to click CC. I know like Camille is also basically point to click CC, but it's not as guaranteed, right? Like with a Camille ult, you can she can ult and you can W, but then the people can still dodge, and the E doesn't last super long, so it's not as guaranteed. So I think putting him into the 2v8 tier is not unreasonable. Poppy, I would say good. Like not like towards the top of good, but I would say she's a tank, of course. She has CC. It's never bad to play with her. She has some nice utility with her ult as well, you know, like for example for contesting objectives, she can ult people away. Similar to like Maokai with his ult, also he can zone kind of good with his ult. So yeah, I might even put her a little bit more towards here. I like don't take this into account too much though. I guess next one, Quinn. Honestly, Quinn I think is great. I don't know how good Quinn is at the moment, but Quinn also has her E, which is point to click CC. She can like she can really impact the map, which is really nice to play with sometimes. Like a good Quinn can be really nice to play with, honestly, as Ekko. And like yeah, as I said, with the point to click CC, it's kind of easy to layer as well. She has a lot of damage, so you can get very easy kills with that champ. Rammus top. I think I'm gonna rate. Probably gonna put him into neutral tier. I have not really played with him, but I imagine it's neutral. At least he's a tank. He has his point to click CC as well, so I mean it should be easy to. It might even be good, but I have not played it, so I'm just gonna rate it neutral. Of course, the reason for that is also because he is mostly AP damage, so it's kind of not great for your team comp. Renekton. Man, like if my Renekton players were not so freaking bad, I would put him maybe even into the 2v8 tier. But like, since most of my Renekton pairs are just completely handless and brainless, I'm just gonna put him into a great tier. Of course, Renekton is just a disgusting champion in general, and he has the point to click W, so yeah, he definitely deserves to be in the great tier. And he's heavy AD, he's like 0 magic damage, I'm pretty sure. I don't know, maybe his ult deals magic damage, I'm actually not sure, but yeah, he's a very nice champ to play with for sure as Ekko. Rengar top. I don't know, like Rengar technically could be great, I feel like, because he also has some CC, but I'm gonna put him into good because most Rengars, I feel like they just like to be left alone, you know? I don't know. But he is, of course, heavy AD, he has some CC, so it's not a bad champ to play with by any means. Now, Riven is the champ I had in mind, 2v8. Love playing with Rivens, I don't know. Riven players also, they just have that, like, you know, they just have that dog in them, you know? they really have this, like, thing in their repertoire where they can really make the difference in fights, and like playing with good Rivens is just, it's such a pleasure, you know. If there's any good Riven player watching this, if you want to duo with me on like one of my accounts, where I kind of am stuck a little bit. I'm not really stuck, but I would like to win more games, you know, because it feels like I'm often just getting held back by having 0 teammates. I love playing with good Rivens, really. It's so nice. I've had so many games where Rivens really just enabled me, and we literally were able to just 2v8 fights. And yeah, super heavy AD champ. So, like, also one of those champs that can just easily make the difference in fights, as I've said. And yeah, love playing with Rivens, honestly. Rumble. Like, if Rumble was not as disgustingly overpowered as he is, I would probably put him into bad tier, but I think he's pretty neutral. He's, of course, full AP, he has no CC, but he has the MR shred. I might even put him into good for that. He has his EMR shred, so it's some utility for that, but he's definitely on the lower part of good because he is an AP top laner, which can make the game difficult for you, of course, as I've said. Sejuani top. I have not seen Sejuani top, but honestly, I've played with we played a bunch of like 5v5 for like tournaments or like Clash and whatever, and we played with Sejuani and Ekko top. I think it's a pretty great combo, honestly. Like Sejuani loves playing with melee champs because of her E passive, of course. So having her, like, yeah, she's like to the lower part of great because she's AP, but she has so much CC. It's very easy to get kills with her. And yeah, like for that, and she's also tank, of course, which is just really nice for your team comp generally. Set could be great as well. I think he's to the upper part of good as well, though. He's pretty nice CC, but like his CC is very short range. Right? Usually, we'll have to flash E if you want to layer it with your W. So it's not as guaranteed as some of your other CC that's here, like the Malphite Ultra or whatever. But it's still, like, he's also full AD, basically, so it's definitely not bad. Ryze, I don't think I'll rate. Shen, Shen is a little bit difficult. Honestly, I think Shen is great. I like playing with Shen because, of course, with the ult as well, it allows you to just go for a place you otherwise wouldn't be allowed to go for. So, yeah, I think he is pretty magic damage heavy, but at least he's also a tank. He helps you with his W, he has his ult, and his E, like, it's not even that short range, it can be quite good to layer with as well in a lot of situations. Shyvana top, I have not really played with. I would say probably neutral though. She doesn't really have CC. She is also a bunch of magic damage. And I mean, I know the tank Shyvana is built on like AD mostly, but still, yeah, I'm gonna put her into neutral tier. But again, I have not really played with it. Singed, bad. Like, I don't know, Singed. I don't like playing with Singed. They like sometimes they do something, most of the times they don't do anything, and then you're just left with a champion that has like he has CC of course, but it's like very weird. It's not easy to layer with. And yeah, he's AP, he's not a great champ in general at the moment, I feel like. And he has a very weird playstyle. He's not easy to gank generally, because a lot of Singed they might even proxy, so yeah. Sion. I think Sion is just a solid good champion to play with. No guaranteed CC or anything, but he has CC of course, and he's a tank, or he's full AD, then in which case he is like a full AD champ, which is nice to play with. And yeah, I think he's just good. Like, he's not great, his CC is not guaranteed or anything, but he can definitely fit into the good tier. Who's next? Am I gonna put Skarner top? I think I've seen Skarner more top than jungle, so I will probably also put him into good tier. He has his ult, of course, which is like completely unfair CC, basically. But again, I think Skarner top is just not the best pick in general, so I can't really put him any higher. Swain, I don't think is a top laner, and Sylas neither, to be fair. Tahm Kench. I think Tahm Kench is pretty bad, honestly. Like, yeah, if the Tahm Kench player is not a dog, then he might not ruin your game, but again, he's also pretty magic damage heavy. He doesn't really have super guaranteed CC. I mean, he also has his ult, but it's only after level 6 as well. And then, yeah, I don't know. It's just not the best champ to play with overall, because he has a lot of magic damage. Yeah, I'm not gonna put Taric or Thresh top, even though there are some trolls on the Rift that like playing that. Talking about trolls, of course. I think Trundle... Neutral. Let's say neutral. He has, like... He doesn't have guaranteed CC, but at least he has, like, his ult where he can steal stats and make people very squishy, which is nice utility. He has his E, which is, of course, like, the E is not, like, point-to-click CC or anything, but it still probably helps you go get people into your W, because it also stalls quite a bit. But however, I think just Trundle top is just not a great pick, and it hasn't been for a while either. Tryndamere. Honestly, I feel like Tryndamere is very similar to Fiora, and they don't want to be ganked too much. At least it's a nice AD champ. They usually get a lot of pressure if they can actually play the game. They create a lot of pressure by just split pushing, so it makes the game easier to play, but it's not like a champ you want to duel with necessarily, you know what I mean? So yeah, I'm just gonna put him there. Udyr top, I don't think I've really seen. I can still rate him. Probably neutral tier. He has like point-to-click CC and whatever, but it's he has to be in melee range for that, of course. And he also has a bunch of AP damage. I mean, it depends on his build, I would say, but yeah, I'm just gonna put him into neutral because I have not really played with Udyr top. And I don't know how strong he is in general anyways. Urgot. I have not played much with Urgot. I imagine he's probably pretty good. Like, he has nice CC. It's not super long range, but yeah, it's not bad. And he is, of course, full AD, so... You know. And he can help you get kills, of course. Like, yeah, I think Urgot is just good. Yeah. And like with the Flash E or whatever, it's definitely a very easy gank setup. I think Vladimir probably bad. At least Vladimir is also this kind of champ that can easily make differences in fights. You know, like sometimes he flashes in ults and like bursts 5 people down, and then you can clean it up as Ekko. But he is AP, of course. He has 0 CC, and yeah, he's just not that. Like, I don't think he has very many great top matchups. I might be wrong about that. I think I actually just remember now someone saying. That like you should play Vladimir top because he beats a lot of meta top laners at the moment, but yeah, I don't know. I'm not a top laner, I can't really... Like, I don't know if that statement was true or false. Oh, I just remembered I forgot about Teemo, or I just saw that. I think Teemo's pretty bad as well. Like, he's full AP, or like, yeah, like his AD builds are not very good in my opinion. He has 0 CC. He's also not a champ that just wants to be ganked generally, so yeah. Just a bad champ to play with. Volibear. I think Volibear, good, you know. Almost great, but because he's very nice for diving, of course, but and he has point-to-click CC. It's very hard to get away from him unless you have like a Vayne E or something to kick him. So yeah, I think just good, you know, point-to-click CC. He is kind of tanky. He usually, like, most Volibears don't go like an actual tank build, but they're still pretty tanky with their kit and their like W. They heal up 3 times in a fight to full HP. So I think it's just fair to put him there. Warwick. I'm gonna put into neutral tier. He's not quite bad tier. He's of course pretty magic damage heavy, but at least he has his ult. He has his like fear, which you might be able to layer with. So yeah, I think that's fair putting him into neutral tier. And he's just a cheesy champ. Wukong top, I haven't seen much, but I think it's probably good, you know. It's always nice to fight with Wukong ult. He is, of course, as well just an AD champ. You don't mind playing with a Wukong. Let's just say that. Yasuo top. Neutral. Like, he's a nice AD champ, of course. He has, like, his... If it's a good Yasuo, then it can definitely be good, of course, but... Yeah, I think generally it's a pretty neutral. He doesn't have guaranteed CC, not very at least. I mean, he can do like the flash EQ or whatever, and then it's pretty guaranteed, but yeah, overall I would say just neutral. Also, Yasuo top has a lot of rough matchups, I think, at the moment, like Renekton and whatever, they just shit on him. Yone, I would say Yone is better than Yasuo. Like, his ult is very long range and it's much easier to layer with. And also, Yone has this similar... Like, I think Yone is better for, like, making these fight-deciding impacts, you know? Like, I've seen Yones with, like, huge ults or whatever, and they just pop off, and then if you're also a good Ekko player, you can definitely decide fights with a good Yone together. So yeah, I think his ult range being so high and whatever, it's definitely a bit better than Yasuo. Yorick, neutral. Like, at least he's not AP, but he doesn't have great CC. Also, mostly a champ that wants to be left alone, you know? So, yeah, it's not the best champ to play with. Also not the worst, so just a very much a neutral champ, I would say. Zac. I would say Zac is honestly good. Like, he's AP, of course, but he has nice CC. He has very long range engage, of course, and he fills the tank role. So yeah, I think I like playing with Zac top. I don't see it much, but yeah, it's not bad. Again, he's AP though, so yeah, I'm actually gonna put him through the lower part of good because of that, because of the fact that he's AP. Any other top laners here? Okay, let me just double check really quick if any of these champs should be put into top. Again, I could put a lot of these mages into top, but I'm not gonna do that because I will also make a mid lane tier list. Should I rate Lee Sin and Jarvan top? Because I feel like I rated some of these champs that are similar to them. Yeah, I might. I mean, Jarvan is probably good. He has nice engage. He's AD champ, of course. He might even be great, honestly, but I think he's not great because Jarvan is not the best top laner. And then Lee Sin, I would say, is just neutral. He is AD at least, but he doesn't have any guaranteed CC, and he's not the best top laner in general. Kindred you could probably put top as well, but like Kindred is genuinely a champ I've never seen top. I just know that LS says you can play him top, but nobody does it. Like Swain, should I put Swain top? I've not seen a Swain top. Now I'm gonna save Swain for mid. I could put Viego top. I think Viego is probably good to play with. He has very, like, in general, playing with Viego is pretty nice as Ekko. It is very easy to layer the CC with W, and he is, of course, full AD, and then he also has that, like, fight carrying potential in his kit, of course, which is nice. And Ekko actually helps him get resets because Ekko is a very good champ at bursting down a single target. And that's exactly what Viego likes, right? He really needs to get those resets. Like, there's nothing more tilting than playing a game with Viego and then not being able to get a single reset in a fight, because you literally... I don't know why that is the case, but so many times whenever I lose games with Viego, it feels like I'm only losing because we genuinely just lose fights 5-0, like, which feels like it doesn't happen most of the other time, like in most other games. But yeah, I don't know. I guess I could also rate Lillia top now that I've rated so many champs. I think Lillia top probably... neutral, at least. Nah, bad. Like, honestly, she's AP, she's not great in top lane, and her CC is not at all guaranteed. It's like, or it's actually kind of guaranteed with her ult, of course, but only with her ult. Her ult is super long cooldown, and yeah, I don't know. Again, it's AP, so not the best champ to play with. I guess I can, at this point, I can also rate Sylas top. Probably neutral as well. He has decent setup, at least, with his E. He's a nice champ. He's a decent champ to play with for mid lane, but he's just not the best. Like, as top laner, he's mostly counter pick. Could put Ivern top, Ivern like as a top laner as well at this point. But yeah, I'm gonna not put Ivern top because I have not played with that champ anyways, so I wouldn't really know where to put him. Okay. Let me just really quickly go through all of these again. If any of them are top laners. Yeah, I don't think I'm missing anyone. Like Ryze you could put top, but again, all of these mages I'm just gonna save for mid lane. So I mean, definitely some champs are of course different in mid lane than in top lane, so it wouldn't even be that bad to rate them differently, but yeah. Okay, I think these are all of them. So here's the full tier list. So if you know any Riven players, if you know any Pantheon players that you want to do it with, then be sure to make that, like do that. It's very good, you know, it's definitely very good. You can easily make the difference in a 2v8 with these champs. All of these champs, you're definitely happy to have them in your team. And yeah, all of these champs, you're not unhappy with these ones. It's kind of hit or miss, I would say. these ones you're a little bit unhappy, and with these ones, yeah, you're already tilted in champ select if you have a weak mental with them. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was helpful for some of you. And if you did, be sure to leave a like. And yeah, as I said, I will upload the next part of it probably just in a week. So next week will just be mid lane duos, and then ADC, and then support duos. So yeah, as I said, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like and watch the next one. Bye.